Okay, everybody, another update on the Franklin. I'm finishing up this nacelle and wanted to show everybody before I buttoned the end up here. I used just a piece of cotton on the LED back here to diffuse it, and I think it looks pretty good. I used a little bit of your old tester's glue to tack it down in place. That looks good. I have it hooked up to some power. I'm going to go ahead and turn power on, show everybody. I got it set a little over 9 volts. You can see here it looks pretty cool. Let me put the camera down real quick and put this on here so everybody can see the effect that cotton is going to do. I'm going to have to tape it off real quick too. I'll turn the overhead light off. And there you have it. Looks pretty cool. I'm using 2mm orange LEDs in the rear. I think with the kit from Tenna Controls, I think they're 5mm. I didn't want it to. I just figured the 2 would work just as fine and give just the light that I want to come out of the rear of the nacelle. You can see here it looks pretty cool. And I'm going to wrap it up. I'm going to glue that on the end of the nacelle. And front's all wired up, as you can see the wire here. I just don't have it hooked up to the board for that to work. And I bought the mask kit from Aztec Dummy, so I'm able to mask this area off in here where my finger is and paint it. I got to hit it another coat of gray primer, but I figured I'd share this with everybody. It's looking pretty cool. I'll continue working on that nacelle off camera, and I'll talk with everybody later. Okay, everybody, another update on the Franklin nacelles. The one in the background here is done, finished. I'm working on the final nacelle. You can see to the left here that it's sitting up here on my workbench, unassembled. I already hooked up the front of the nacelle, you can see here, to the board. I'll turn some power on in a minute. Yesterday I used my contour gauge and my foam cutter, and I made up some jigs to set the nacelle on, and turned out great. Once I get the other one assembled, I can have them side by side and hooked up to the board there, and hook up some power and see what they look like before I take it any further. And once that nacelle is done and that's assembled inside the nacelle, I can move on to the Franklin. But I just simply took my contour gauge and I gauged the bottom of the front of the nacelle, and it gave me this shape here. You can see here, then I cut it out with my foam cutter, and then I did the rear of the nacelle, and I marked it, and with a permanent marker, then I cut that out with the foam cutter, and worked out just fine. This is pretty condensed foam, so it's pretty sturdy stuff, and turned out perfect for using it as a jig to hold up the nacelle, and it's perfectly straight, as you can see here. I do have another Franklin in stock, so down the road, if I ever build it, I can use those jigs again. But I figured I'd give everybody a little tip on how I came up with that idea, and I'll probably come up with this idea again when I build the 350 original or the refit. I'll use my contour gauge, and I got plenty of foam in stock, so I'll just make up a jig for those. But that'll be down the road. So let me go ahead and turn the power on. I got it set just a little bit above 9 volts, and you can see here it's working fine. Turn the overhead light off so everybody can see it. Looks pretty cool. Everything's working fine, just like on the one that's assembled. And I figured I'd share this with everybody. Everybody can take a look at it before I put it inside the nacelle and wrap that up today. And then once they're together, I'm going to go over them again with a final coat of primer before I get ready to paint them. I may just paint them, put them to the side, and then work on the Franklin, but I'll see when I get to that point. That looks pretty cool. There's going to be no spinning effect on these nacelles. What you see is how it's going to be on both of the nacelles, left and right. I saw a few people build it with the boards that this is not the board for the Franklin, but I requested this from Tenant Controls, Ralph, and he sent me that board months ago, and looks cool. It just don't have that feature on the board to make the nacelles spin. And that's fine. Like I said, a couple people that built it, that's how theirs turned out, just like what you see here. And even if I bump the voltage up to 12, you can go up to 12. That's about 12. It's just going to maybe make it brighter. You can see here. Looks pretty cool. And then I'll show how it's all wired up, because a lot of guys out there that do these boards, I wish they would get down and show how everything gets wired up and make it easier on someone just getting into this. If it's complicated, like I said, this board is not really complicated. You can see all the wire here is from the nacelle. This is the main power, positive and negative. And then this blue wire here on this end of on this side of the board goes into terminal 1, and this one goes in terminal 14, the black, and then that's it. You just hook it up. Now when I get everything together, it's going to be double over here for each nacelle. It shouldn't be too complicated to get that on the board, but I figured I'd give everybody another look before I wrap this up. Bump it back down to 9 volts or close to it. That's good enough. And I'll go ahead and pause for now, get this wrapped up today, and then I'll show the end results when I get it all hooked up to the board. So I'll continue working on this off camera, and I'll talk with everybody later. Alright everybody, another update on the nacelle I needed to assemble. You can see here I've got it almost done, and it's sitting on the little jigs I made for it, and it's a big help. I still have to put the end cap on, but before I do, I got it lit up with a 9-volt battery to show everybody it's working fine. And I have to take a piece off of this cotton. I'm going to glue it on using some Tester's glue. I'll tack it in there to diffuse that light for the rear of the nacelle. And then I'll go ahead and glue the cap on. The front now, I can't have it hooked up to any power because it goes to the board. But I'll just pick it up. You can see here, it just went together okay. It was a little tedious with the wire to feed it through, but before I put this top part on, I'm going to make sure everything's working good with the board on the nacelle here. So I figured I'd give everybody a quick update. It's looking good. I'm almost there. Once I can get this all together, I'll put it to the side, and like I said, I'll probably add another coat of primer to this nacelle and the other one, and then maybe get ready to paint it. The overall color I'm painting mine, turn some lights on, is metallic gray, which is the overall color, and Tamiya makes it in an acrylic paint, and the number is XF56. It's going to be a cool color, you can see here. And I'll probably hit the nacelles once they're all together, masked off, and try that paint out on the nacelle and see how it looks. And then probably this section here, I'm probably doing gunmetal. I'll have to look at the instructions. But it's going to look good. It's taking shape, so I'll go ahead and pause for now, continue working on this, and I'll talk with everybody later. Okay everybody, this is the final wrap up on this nacelle I've been working on the last couple of days. The top cover I have off right now because I'm testing to make sure everything works in this nacelle before I go ahead and put the top on it, as you can see here. I already have it hooked up to some power. I got it hooked up to the board. I already tested it off camera. Everything's looking good, so let me go ahead and turn some power on. I have it a little bit over 9. You can see there. Turn the overhead light off. I'll just go ahead and pick it up. See the nacelle's working fine. That really looks cool. The rear light is on. It's working fine. The two rear 2mm orange LEDs will just be hooked direct to the main power. Right here, positive and negative. So you can see it's working just fine. I'll have it set up that way. Not directly hooked up to the board other than for the main power, and it's working out just fine. And give everybody another look at that nacelle front. It looks really cool. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to seal this up, and I'm going to hook both of them up, since I jerry-rigged these little jigs right here with my foam cutter. You can see it. They work out just fine. They really look like they hold this nacelle kind of level. As you can see here. So it's looking really good. Once I get this finished and I hook up the other one and film both of them together, it's going to look really cool. So I'm almost there. I'm going to go ahead and pause the camera and continue on this nacelle and finish it up, and I'll talk with everybody later. Okay everybody, this is going to be the final update on the Franklin nacelles. I have them both on my workbench, wired up to the board. You can see it's a fine mess of wires, but I got it all hooked up. As much as I've been using the board and testing the front and rear of the nacelles, I know where all the wires go on the board, which isn't very hard, and I'll point that out again down the road when I get this installed into ship. Right now I have it hooked up to my power supply. I'm going to go ahead and power it up. It's set a little over 9 volts. I'll turn some lights off here so everybody can get a good look at it. And try to keep that in frame. And there you go. I finally got the nacelles done. Next step I'll have to do is mask off the front and the rear of the nacelles. I've got the Aztec dummy paint masks, and he actually has masks that you can put on the inside here and just paint the whole nacelle, plus the rear cap of the nacelle. He's got a mask for those, which is good, because I will definitely primer these up one more time before I hit them with metallic gray. But I figured I'd give everybody another look. I haven't posted on my YouTube channel on the Franklin for months, and this is going to be probably, I don't know how long this update's going to be, and it's just going to be on the nacelles, so everybody knows I'm back on track again working on the Franklin. I'm going to probably knock the nacelles out of the way, get them finished before I get back onto the Franklin itself. I will have to hook the board up to the Franklin to see the lighting and everything is working fine, and the navigation lights, which I'm sure they are, but I want to double check, make sure that's good to go, and then I could start working on the Franklin. But I'll try to pick up one of these, and then you can see that the rear of the nacelles lit. Looks really good. Maybe I can try to pick up the other one. And then you can see the other one's lit. But didn't take me long to actually get focused on this and take care of it and get the nacelles out of the way. Now with the board, the nacelles are not going to spin left. They're not going to. One's not going to spin clockwise. The other one's not going to spin counterclockwise. This is how he's got it set up, even with the board that you can buy with for the Franklin. I'm not saying this board's an upgrade, but it does the same features as the other one, but it's not as complicated to work with, which I like. But I'm going to go ahead and call this a wrap on the nacelles. I'd like to thank my YouTube subscribers. I'd like to thank everybody for watching. Be safe out there, and I'll talk with everybody later.